Good morning, my MBP family and friends, wherever you are. I'm just touching bases with you. I'm just touching bases with you this morning. I am getting ready to go visit my son and his wife and the young ones and just hang out for the day. But I had to just stop in and just say good morning to you where you are, hoping that you're feeling hopeful and uplifted this morning. That that you woke up in a good spirit, you had something to eat, that no matter what you're able to give thanks and to know that God is still there. And remember, he promised not to leave us nor forsake us, so don't forget to reach out and talk to him. And you don't have to be eloquent speakers to talk with him. Just talk with him. He knows and he understands and he cares. So as you got up this morning, as I got out of bed, I got some things done, gave thanks, just give thanks all the time, just always thankful. There's so much to be thankful for. And when I opened, I found this from Bev Brown, Life with Bev Brown. And it says, and it touched me, and I just wanted to share it with us. It says, I rise today, but I changed that I to we. Because today we rose up, and we're here. And so I just wanted to share the words from that thought. It says, we rose up today with God's Spirit to teach us, God's power to pilot us, God's strength to sustain us, God's wisdom to guide us, God's eyes to look ahead for us, God's ear to hear us, God's words to speak for us, God's hands to protect and carry us, and God's love to prosper and complete us. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, my people, please do so. And those of you who have, I thank you for your comments. I thank you for your memberships. I thank you for all things. Remember that the membership funds go towards my students. I did the donors shoes, so we have a lot of pencils. We have the only thing that I need to replenish are snacks for them, because it doesn't matter, you know, when children are sitting in front of you and, you know, they have to be focused, they have to do so much work. A little pack of fruit snacks, and these are the ones that I invest in for them. I bought them the big boxes, 180. But when you teach 60 kids or more, 180 doesn't last too long. But I give them these fruit snacks. Sometimes I do a blow pop for them. But you would be surprised to know how it replenishes and let them, give them more oomph to continue working hard. So that's what the membership funds go towards. Used to do like pencils and all that, but because I did the donors shoes and the donations that came in, it's funded, it's fully funded. One is fully funded. The second one needs a little bit more to put it over the edge, over the top, not the edge, but the top. But so that one, maybe $180 more will put me over the top, so they can ship those things to support my classroom. But I thank all of you who have supported the little things that I do, the little projects I take on. I really, really and truly, I every time I look at something, you know, I have to remember and I have to be thankful, because you didn't have to do it. But you dig deep and you budgeted and you said, this goes to Miss Bev's project. And it's a blessing, not only for me, but for the children that I work with. So this morning, I'm compelled to talk about the cost of funerals and what funerals have become today. You know, I was talking to my cousin the other day, and I was going back to the days when somebody died in the community and they would make a pine box, and Granny and the other people in the community, they would go in and support the wife and the children, or the husband and the kid, or whatever was going on in that home. But they would be present, and they would make coffee, and they would break bread, and they would chant all night, and they would keep company with those people, and then they take them out and they buried them in those little pine boxes, right? And today in the time that we live in now, we look at the cost of burying someone. All that money, all that unnecessary spending. People now, like, burials are more, it's like bigger than a wedding. Why, people? Why? People dead, they're gone. Why are we putting so much in the earth when there are people left behind who are hungry, who are homeless, who are living in dire poverty, who when they go to bed are getting wet if the rain comes, who are sitting there, can't find the next meal. And yet, and some of those people that we buy all these, how much $100,000 coffins for, and all this grandstanding, when they were alive, we never even passed by to see if they were okay. We never stopped by to give them a cup of water. We never even queried about them. We never make a call or ask a friend, could you stop by and let me just say hi to the person? Right? But yet when they are gone, we do this big grand thing to keep the name of the family uplifted. We fly out from abroad, and we never send a little barrel of food and even the used clothing that we have, that we throw out sometimes, that we never stop to think about those things, to make them comfortable while they were struggling, to help them buy some pain medication, or to help them go see a doctor. We do not invest in those things, but when they're dead, we fly out from every nook and cranny. And here we come, and we want this done, and we want 2 goats killed, and we want a whole cow killed, and we want all these fancy things for people to come and to see. So people, I say that to just remind us that when people are alive, let us be present, let us support, let us encourage, let us give them comfort. And when they're dead, remember, when they're gone, they don't know a darn thing. They don't know who came there. So visit them when they're alive so they could see you. Shake their hands, hug them so they feel wanted and appreciated. Remind them of the days when they did this for you and did that for you, when they told you something positive, when they told you, little boy, I'm watching you, you're filled with greatness. Take your book and learn. Remember when they took you and said, come, let me show you how to cut this piece of wood, or spread some cement somewhere, or nail up something to straighten it, or, dig a yam hole, or remember those things and remind them of them. Let them feel good that they have contributed. A lot of us, if people have not given us big things, like big monetary valuable things, we don't remember the kind words they spoke to us, the encouraging words they spoke to us. We don't remember that they gave us what they could afford at the time when they did it. We don't remember that when they did those things for us, we truly, truly need it. But we only look for those who handed us big gifts and big to-dos, and we forget. So let's not forget, guys. Listen, I'm just here this morning. I thought about it, and I thought of those days. I was telling my cousin, I said, I remember, like, we live in the very rural part. And so when Granny would go to these wakes, and I'm sitting there as a little girl, I'm there with her. And she goes out with Miss Louise, and Miss Louise had her little one with her, and we sat there, we fall asleep, and we wake up and we're dying to sleep. But we're there. And when it's all said and done and we left in the early mornings to go home, we're not walking on the nice path to go home. We're walking through the little tracks, right? And to get home, I don't know sometimes how I got home, because I'm telling you, I'm half asleep walking. I'm just walking, because some of those paths, we have trod them so often that, you know what, we just go. And Granny's wide awake and happy, and they're talking and coming, and just happy to do good. So this morning I speak because I see, you know, all these big coffins and all these grand things and that is happening today, and poor people who cannot afford it have to try to make things look good because people are going to talk. People will talk either way. We need to go back to when a funeral was something simple and people don't have to stress themselves to feed a multitude of people. It's better you have a funeral with 10 or 20 people than you sit there catering for how many people. Oh my God, it was a big turnout. No, you don't want a big turnout at a funeral. You want a big turnout when people are alive and they need support and they need comfort. That's when people should be happy that, man, you know, quite a few people came by to help out, to clean, to do this, to wash some clothes, to cook a meal. Quite a few people. But don't wait to look for a grand funeral and how many cars were there and how many people show up. Well, the person was alive, he's dead, or she's dead. They don't know who is there, they don't know what's going on. Who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the 10, or are you doing it for show and tell? So people, listen to me. Stop it. Just stop it. Help people who are in need. I'm not telling you to spoil people. A lot of people, you help them to build, and they sit there and they don't do a darn thing with what they help you give to them. They sit there waiting, and they want you to do more, and they want you to do more, but they do absolutely nothing with the support that you give. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about those people who have truly, you help them to start, and they use it, and they're building, and they're trying. So when you support and you see them just sit down nonchalantly and sit like they're waiting for you to hand the fish every day, you walk away from that, because that's not going to go anywhere. It ain't going to change. But when you help and you see people appreciate it, and you see them using what they have been given, the little bit, and they're learning, they've learned, you taught them to fish, and now they're trying to catch their fish, then, you know, that's what makes me feel good. And that is what I like. I like to see people help trying. And once you're trying, I'll support and help you. But don't sit there waiting, and when you get, you sit there still. And every time you get something, instead of building, you come up with ideas, but then as soon as you get this, then, oh, I want to do something. I want to do something. No, focus. Look at what makes sense and build. And so that you can learn to catch a fish, and you can also help somebody else to catch a fish, and let the blessing continue. So today I say, guys, support the people around you and make sure. And I will close with this poem. It is so fitting, you know, because I was thinking about it, and I came when I sat at my desk, my favorite space. I love my desk area. I love it. You'll see a lot of videos with these background. I'll change the curtains, but look, it's not about the curtain. It's not about what's at my window. It's just about the words that comes to me, and I just needed to speak about them. And so this morning, I'm going to leave this poem with us, not just for you, but for myself, you know, because it rested on me how, you know, you see this where funerals are going, and how funeral parlors are benefiting from the people who are grieving, and they're putting their foot on these people's necks, and it becomes more and more, you know. Death should be something where people are bringing to support. You know, somebody's bringing some water, somebody's bringing something. But instead it has become a thing where people are coming. I go home to Jamaica and I see the people there and everybody running. When it's time to serve the food, I'm looking at when Granny died, how many goats got killed, how many chicken, how much pounds of fish. And we had to buy we got the little things that you buy your food in, the styrofoam things. And some people had to stay back to do the food and package them. Fish, chicken, or goat. And when they come, a lot of people couldn't afford a pound of fish. Everybody wants fish. And so you're serving and they leave and they come back. And they didn't get, or they have these lot of bags that even the people who didn't come out to the funeral, they're collecting to pack and go home for everyone without understanding that when somebody dies, it's easier to feed a person than to bury them. Because when to feed them, it's a little bit each night to feed them a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe it just costs not even $100. But when you have to bury them, you have to find that chuck full of money to dig a grave, to buy the materials to get the thing built, to pay these funeral homes these unnecessary sums of money. When years ago it was a block of ice on the dead, somebody dressed them right there, put them in the pine box, bury them. All that's happening is the bodies melt off, all the fat and the flesh, it disintegrates, it decomposes. And it's gone. They're not sitting up in there living and, I feel a little cold, or I feel... They don't know a thing. They're rot, they stink, they're gone. So why are we making this such a big old investment? After that, then you have to find food for every night people are coming in. So you have to be prepared to serve a little drink here, a little drink there. People who could only afford a little drink of rum when they come, they don't want rum now. They want the Guinness, they want top shelf stuff. And you're serving and you're giving, and when you look at the amount of monies that have been expended, you wonder, how many of these people pass by and remember Granny, or remember any of the good she did in that community? How many of them did that? How many come back and said, boy, but no, it's a hard time and it's not easy, people not working, the kids, but everybody looking, the foreigners are coming. And the foreigners go and they do and they do. But how many remember the kindnesses of Granny in that community? Going to people giving birth, going to people with sick, Granny never stopped. Granny never she never think of self. Granny was never too tired. When they call out, Sakuli, she get up and she gone. It didn't matter where they were. After church, she gone to visit. You go home and you give Granny have come soap and them something. Lord, she have to wrap up one. Me have to give so-and-so one. Me have to give. She was never about self. It was always making sure everybody else was okay. And so when they're gone, they stop people, stop and think, and help instead of coming to, some people will go away, I didn't get a darn thing to eat. They never have enough food. You hear them talk about going to other people's things and they're never satisfied. So people, let me tell you this. When people die, go in and support. Go in and support. Don't dig a grave and then you're charging. Don't do when you know from earth to heaven that the person you're digging the grave for and you're charging all this money as if it's a business thing. When death comes, help to make it comfortable. And those who are just waiting for death to make sure the name of the family stands firm and people talk about, you want dignitaries to come talk about. Let us remember that Christ never wanted that. That's not how Christ lived. So when people die, don't go around to make sure this comes and that comes and all of the rest comes, Go out and support. And support before they end up in the grave. Because when they're in the grave, as this poem says, if you're ever going to love me now. It says, if you're ever going to love me now while I can know all the sweet and tender feelings which from real affection flow. It says, love me now while I am living. Do not wait till I am gone, and then chisel it in marble warm love words on ice cold stone. If you have dear, sweet thoughts about me, why not whisper them to me? Don't you know it would make me happy and as glad as could be? If you wait till I am sleeping, never to awaken here again, there'll be walls of earth between us, and I couldn't hear you then. It says, if you know someone was thirsting for a drop of water sweet, would you be so slow to bring it? Would you step with laggard feet? There are tender hearts all around us who are thirsting for our love. Why withhold from them what nature makes them crave, all these above? I won't need your kind caresses when the grass grows over my face. I won't crave your love or kisses in my last low resting place. So then, if you love me any, if it's a little bit, let me know it now while living, so I can own and treasure it. If you love me, people, or if you're ever gonna love me now. Love me now when I can appreciate it. The kind words, the beautiful essays. When you watch my videos and you leave your comments of appreciation. I am a teacher, yes. And a lot of you don't know that I'm a very shy person. I come in here and some of you will say, well, you're so beaming and you're so... But I've never been a public speaker. But thank God when I started this channel and all those who supported me and are still here supporting me in this journey. Some of you are here with me from day one. And you have encouraged and you left your comments and never get tired. I always appreciate it. I thank you for telling me now, of telling me, Miss Bev, we love you, Miss Bev, we appreciate you. And those of you text in the mornings and you send your positives and you send your good vibes my way. And you help me to laugh out loudly and you help me to just know that I'm appreciated. Thank you. Because I'm experiencing the love. It makes me feel good. It makes me truly feel good. I did the video about Granny and I talked about a lot of things in that video because Sabbath morning I got up and I just felt good. And sometimes, we say it's not us speaking, it's just like there is somebody just keep giving you the thoughts to speak. And I came and I was looking for the poem. I remembered years ago my grandmother in Trelawney, there was a thing she said, don't wait until something and I'm covered with the clovers. I couldn't remember, but if you love me or you like me, tell me now. And I'm Googling to see if I could find it, and I couldn't. And I kept going over and until finally, this one is exactly a typical of what I wanted. So sometimes you get thoughts in your heads, and because you're thinking good thoughts, and then more good thoughts add on to it, and then it becomes so natural and so easy to just speak from the heart. I don't need a script. except when I'm doing the poems, because they're not my words. I'm using the words of somebody who left them. But the meanings in these poems are so fitting that you want to borrow them. And because a lot of us may not have stumbled upon these experiences, it's okay. And so I share with you and remind us that we shouldn't wait till people are gone to help them to live a decent life. We're not bringing monies with us. We can take a darn thing out of this world. So we don't need to heap it up here. We don't need to heap it up and be happy that, oh, I have mine, I have. When there's so many people out there crying out. You can now feel good when you live in your 6 or 10 bedrooms and you have people out there who, my God, they're living in such... Yeah, we grew up and you know, we struggled, but it was different. It was different. Because during those struggles, we didn't have, you know, we had what we had. I'm looking back now where I lived, and yeah, when Granny lived, like the house was so far into the land, 16 acres. And it's like they brought the house and put it in the middle of those acres. And so it's a long trek to get home. But every time I look back now, and I talk sometimes about how poor we were, but we weren't poor. And we weren't poor at all. When I look at how, I don't know, it has to be God who has brought me into this YouTube thing. And I started out watching Maurice Kingpin and Fire Reid driving around in Jamaica. And I remember when I saw Maurice Kingpin drive through Duncan's, and that's where I lived there with my aunt before I migrated to America. So when I left Springfield, I went to Kingston and I lived there, and my aunt was a dentist, and they looked out for us because our mom migrated and we were there. We were still young people. And when she moved back to Trelawney, to my grandmother's, to the family's home before she branched out into her place, you know, I lived in Trelawney there with them. Different, because they didn't know me. I was like a stranger to them. I grew up with Alice, with my granny. But I went back there, and then my aunt went to Duncan. So when I saw his video and he got to Duncan's, he got to the burial ground, I'm identifying, I'm driving with him from Ryabuna, from Discovery Bay, from Ocho Rios, coming through to Discovery Bay to Ryabuna, coming all the way to Duncan's. And I'm looking and I'm seeing my friends. She has a shop now, hairdressing thing at the front there, and I'm looking up in the street when our house was right next to hers, the school on the left, and I got so excited. And then he got up. I'm looking at the big church up there and the post office and the police station, and he got to the clock and he goes around and he went down. And then he picked it up in another video, and I found the video that he went down to Burwood Beach, and I was just so excited because he was in my neck of the woods. And I started following him around. And for Fire Reid, when I found his, because Maurice highlights Fire Reid's videos, so I was able to see Fire Reid's videos, and he's from St. Elizabeth. I said, my God. And so I was watching them, and I got into this thing where I created my channel, and here I am. And what the social media thing did for me, when I hang out a lot with Jamaica Life Nice, and we started helping to build homes, you're seeing the poverty. And now when you go in and see so many people doing it now, like they're helping people, and you're seeing the devastation. And sometimes it's not devastation because these people, they live and are comfortable in the hardships because they have no choice. And they go to sleep in the wet. And oh my God, I don't know how. Because when we were little and we were wetting the bed, once that thing gets cold, it's cold. You're trying to find a dry spot. You can imagine how mentally tough it is. Can you imagine how tough it is? And I look back at Granny's house and I said, we were poor. We were not poor. We were in a 3-bedroom house. You had a big room for Granny, and you had the next room on the other side. I guess that was built for the children when they were raising the kids. And then you had a butler's room. There was a room right off the dining room. That was a butler's room. That room has its own entrance to go in there. And we had a nice veranda. We had, you know, we had glass windows that we pushed them up, and they put we used to use a big nail and to hold it up. So we had those. We had nice windows. We had a living room set, not a thing. It was like plastic with metal, but we had the love seat, and we had the big piece. We had good table and 4 dining table chairs. And we had a nice sofa with the rolled over edge. It was wood, but I assume in the back then, Granny didn't make a pillow for it. But I remember when she passed away, and when I went back there, that they had brought it to my aunt's home. And it's there, just needed. I thought about it. I said, my God, those things were such rich wood. You know, Granny had a chest, a nice cedar chest that she put all her fineries in. And we had a cabinet, a nice cabinet. Those of you who know me from Springfield, or my cousins, you know that's the truth. We had a nice cabinet in the right next to the dining table. And I'm looking now and I'm saying, what am I talking about? I grew up in poverty. There was no poverty. I never went to bed hungry. I was never wet. There was no leaking. When you look in the ceiling, it was all, it was sealed with solid wood. So you couldn't see the zinc. You couldn't see the zinc up there because they had, like you use a Solitex to do the ceiling. All of that was there. I'm looking now. I said, my God, we were never poor. I might not have had shoes to wear to school, because when Granny's husband passed away, she never remarried. She stayed single, and she raised me. And so, you look back at all those things today, and thank God I can finally appreciate those things and stop talking about how poor I was. You know, because I wasn't. Granny could read, and she encouraged me to read. I would take books from the library for her, take books for myself on Fridays. And we read. And Granny would sit on the veranda. We had a bench on the veranda. And our Granny would just sit right there on the veranda. I remember the veranda, we had the railings around it. And so I think we had a good life. When you look now and see where people are living, we lived well. We had a big kitchen, wasn't attached to the house, but we had a big kitchen with the you know, and we had a butchery on the side there, big, to store the ground provisions. So we were rich. There were so many fruit trees. You could never go hungry up in that place. So I think of it today and I said, thank God. So people, appreciate what you have. And those who do not have enough, share with them. I beg you, share with them. Do what Christ did and showed us. He taught us how to pray. He taught us how to live. He taught us how to take care of those who did not have enough. And it's not because they're lazy. A lot of people just didn't get the opportunity, didn't get the chances. Some of them left school from early to work on farms to help their families. And so, do not put people down. Let God deal with that. But as he blesses you where you are, I don't care. If it's a lot or if it's a little, give back. Help somebody who needs a loaf of bread. Help them. You have an extra plate. Don't let them sit there. You know, you have a little extra soap. Share with them. Go make sure their clothes are washed. Even if you take it for them, bring it home, wash it, dry it out, and bring it back to them. You have an extra sheet. Bring it to them. Some of you throw good furniture, some of you are sleeping on 2, 3, 4 mattresses, and the people out there with nothing. Don't feel good because you have and nobody else have. Feel good that, you know what, I have, and I'm comfortable. I don't need all of this. I don't need all of this. Let me give somebody some. Don't feel good because you have so much. Feel good that you made somebody feel better today. So I say to you guys, if you're ever going to love me now. Don't wait till Miss Bev is gone and you, oh my God, she was such a, oh my God. No, tell me now. If I've been a positive thing for you in whatever shape or form, we're on our weight loss journey. Today, as I said, I'm going to visit the son and my little, I'm going to appreciate the blessings that God gave to me. And so please, you do the same. Love your children. Some of them might be hard-headed, but understand that love comes, and sometimes it's a way that we treat them, that they treat us back. So think about you and think about how you can change things, and so that your children can call you blessed. That your children be able to say thank you, because you have been there. You have sacrificed much. You gave up a lot and they saw it and they said yes. So please, as you continue on the journey with me, get up and walk. Yesterday I walked up to the hairdresser. I know you noticed that now the hair is done, right? And I walked up to her to do the first part of the cutting and the conditioning and just, oh my God, and she massaged the scalp and it just felt so good. And she had an appointment, so I had to come back. And I just walked home instead of taking an Uber. I just walked home. It was good. And then she called me when she was leaving her appointment, and I walked back up there. And I said, thank you, Lord. I'm so grateful. I walked back up to her, and she finished my hair, and we talked a bit, and I walked again home. That was crazy, because if I had walked the regular path, like going towards my school and then coming down, it would have been so much easier. But I decided to, when I left her place, to just walk straight down that street. That street just seemed longer than my street. And then when I got down to the bottom and to that main thing there, that main road there, I make a left, and it was a longer walk. And then when I got now to turn up to my home, I said, dang, this is so much more walking than if I had just gone from her house straight down and then pick up my street and come straight home. I would have just walked straight into my home right there. But now when I went the other way and had to walk the long way down and then to turn up the hill, I said, wow, but I got it done. And, I stopped a couple of times under the shade because it was hot. But I got it done, and it's a good feeling. So thanks for all your support, guys. If you can't be good, be careful, but walk good as we continue onward and upward. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. If something in there motivates or encourages you, pass it on to other people, please. And let us continue to grow. Take good care of yourself.